Have you ever asked yourself, if God is good, then why does he allow suffering? It's one of the oldest questions in human history. And if we're honest, it's usually not a question we ask when life is going well. We ask it when the diagnosis comes, when the relationship falls apart, when someone we love dies, when our prayers seem to go unanswered. In those moments, suffering doesn't feel like a theological problem. It feels personal. It hurts. And maybe you've wondered if God has abandoned you. But what if suffering isn't proof that God has left? What if, somehow, God is still present in the middle of it? The Bible never promises a life free from pain. In fact, Jesus himself said, "In this world you will have trouble, not might, will." Suffering is a part of the human experience because we live in a broken world, a world marked by sin, loss, sickness, injustice, and death. Yet Christianity offers something unique. It doesn't tell us that God watches our suffering from a distance. It tells us that God entered into it. Jesus didn't come as a powerful ruler living comfortably among human pain. He was betrayed, rejected, mocked, beaten, and crucified. The Son of God willingly stepped into suffering so that none of us would ever suffer alone. That doesn't answer every question, but it changes the question. Instead of asking, "Where is God in my suffering?" we begin to see that he is right there beside us. Sometimes suffering reveals strengths we never knew we had. Sometimes it deepens our compassion for others. Sometimes it strips away distractions and draws us closer to God than we've ever been before. Many of the strongest believers didn't find God in comfort. They found him in the storm. And while we may never fully understand why certain things happen, we can trust that God sees the bigger picture that we cannot. Think of a child watching a surgeon prepare for an operation. To the child it may look frightening, even cruel, but the surgeon sees what the child cannot. Healing often involves pain before restoration. The same can be true in our spiritual lives. God can bring purpose from pain, hope from heartbreak, and life from what seems lost. The greatest example of this is the cross. On the day Jesus was crucified, it looked like evil had won. It looked like darkness had the final word. But 3 days later came the resurrection. What appeared to be the greatest tragedy became the greatest victory in human history. And that reminds us of something important. God is capable of bringing good from places where we can only see pain. So if you're suffering today, if you're carrying grief, fear, disappointment, or questions, know this: God is not angry with you for asking why. He hears your prayers. He sees your tears, and he has not abandoned you. You may not understand the reason for your suffering today, but you do not walk through it alone. The God who carried the cross walks beside you still, and sometimes faith isn't having all the answers. Sometimes faith is simply trusting that God is holding you, even when life doesn't make sense. May you find comfort in knowing that your pain is seen, your prayers are heard, and your story is not over. God is still working, even here, even now.